Len. No. My mother. The only person in my life ever to really call me Leonard was my mother, and normally it was addressed to me when I was not doing something that I should have been doing. Leonard! That type of Leonard. But no, it's always been Len, right from the word go. I'm actually named for my grandfather, who was Norman Leonard Brown, and he was always known as Len Brown. And so that's me. Oh, look, at formal occasions, and when protocol requires, then it's either Mayor Len Brown or Your Worship, or Mr. Mayor. But for 99% of occasions, when I'm just chilling out in the community and just doing my normal stuff, it's Len. So you can just call me Len. Yes, they do. Yeah, certainly before they knew of the link. People had often asked me, so, what were you doing out in Pukekohe? I mean, were you on the Franklin District Council or something out there? So it is a great link. He was an absolute stone-cold legend in that community. And so I walk in very big shoes. In Pukekohe, I'm just the grandson of that Len Brown. I think the greatest thing about Auckland is our natural beauty. We're tamaki makaurau. And tamaki makaurau means the maiden with 100 lovers. And in a broad sense, that was all about Māori recognising the extraordinary natural attractiveness of our place. The three harbours, the unbelievable number of volcanoes, 56 volcanoes in and around the place, with the green land, beautiful beaches, and the wonderful clear waterways. And so that natural beauty is our greatest feature, our greatest asset, and what we need to preserve the most. Go to the Otara Flea Market. And then after that, go to Takapuna Market. Oh, look, I mean, there's a number of things that you could do. Kelly Tarleton's waterfront, the neat beaches, go on top of Manukau. I mean, I launched my campaign off the top of Manukau, off Mount One Tree Hill. And the views from up on top of that maunga, that mountain, and from a number of the mountains, North Head, Mount Victoria, from off top of the Waitakere Ranges out to the Tasman. Gobsmacking. So there are so many things you can do, but if you want to have a really great cultural experience and get the sense of community, you get to the markets. Yes, better than most. There is a strong sense of tolerance, mostly, in our city for differences. And we are building on very good bones an extraordinarily cosmopolitan, multi-racial community here. I want to really add to that. Yes, significantly. We need to celebrate those differences more and enjoy the fact that as one community of Auckland, we are made up of 195 different cultures and ethnicities. And we I think, really need to value that and enjoy that disparity, that multi-ethnicity, and encourage. So, for example, I want us to do Pacifica, which happens once a year for a weekend. It attracts 200,000 people. I reckon we could make it one of the great events of the world, because we are the biggest Pacific city in the world. And I think that we could do 1 million people in there over a week and have just an outstanding celebration of brilliance. The confidence of my clients. A lawyer sits in a unique position, not dissimilar to a mayor actually. The lawyer is often the last port of call when things are turning terrible in your life. And at my first law lecture, the law lecturer, Byron O'Keefe, said, "Your job as lawyers is to help people." And that's exactly why I went into the law. I wanted to help people, and you do so in their very worst of times as well as their very best. And you're sitting in a position of absolute privilege. You get to know everything about their lives, and they need your help. I never decided it. I was always it. I was very active in community right from the word go, right from my early young days, at my dad's right-hand shoulder. And my father and his father and generations before have had a real penchant for community service and public service. And so right from my very early years, I was involved in stuff in the community. And from my teenage years, I was a leader in our church youth groups and in our schools. I was always the organiser of this event, that event, the other event. In our local neighbourhoods, when I was 7 or 8 year old, I was organising the cricket games, the rugby games, the cycling games, the hut building. There was always a hubbub around what I was up to. And so that involvement just had a natural tendency to leading in the community, and then community leadership is what politics is about. I can change things. I'm an agent of change and hope. Every day I can change the world, even if it's a small way. And that is a position of extraordinary humility and responsibility, that you have within your hands the ability to change your community for the better or the worse. And so what I can do in my leadership, and in particular how I lead and the statements and the aspirational goals that I give out as the leader, I set aspirational markers for our community, and that's a guide, it's a pathway for them to follow, and you can bring change. Our pride. We're very proud as members of the Manukau community, and some sense of that we've been damaged by, for example, social misbehaviour, tagging, stuff like that. And I believe that through my leadership and ability to bring our community together, we lifted those levels of pride, of regard and respect for each other, but a pride of who we are, particularly amongst our young people. So I think it's not a bricks and mortar thing. The challenge of really bringing people with you, that it's easy to talk and to demand or command. That's the easy part. You can do that in the shower. But the formidable part is to bring people with you and persuade, cajole, encourage, inspire, aspire. Every bit of your essence, of your fibre, of your being is about bringing people with you and going with them and listening. You know, whatever it takes to just coalesce your community and corral them into a position of unity and, you know, forward action, forward movement. Oh, look, I do it every second day. I'm not going to take myself seriously at any time, really, overly. You know, I think the most important element for political leadership is humility. Mostly pretty well, I think. Some of it, you know, I mean, I don't read the papers or don't pay much attention to them anymore, or much of the media, because often I don't see a lot of myself in some of the comment. Oh yes, I read that. Well, I had a lot of people read it to me. I actually felt that was reasonable. I particularly rate the reporter. I think he's a very good reporter. So look, in any one day or week or month of your political leadership, you're going to be the subject of constant reflection and criticism or support and praise. And you just best not to take too much of it too seriously. You just got to keep focused and do what you're doing, and ultimately the people make their judgments about you. And I think in Manukau they made some pretty clear judgments about me. You've got to love the people. You've absolutely got to love the people. Love what you're doing. Believe in what you're doing. You know, you have a vision or a sense of where you want to go and how you want to go, and if you don't really believe that, then how can you expect the people to believe you? You've got to really have courage. You've got to be prepared to stand apart. You've got to take the hits, but stand up for what you believe in, and just give people very clear choices and direction as to how we're going. That's some of the things that I think make a leader. Oh, well, this is a very trick question. Most of the place names in our country are Māori in terms of their derivation, and so I have been working towards a passing good reference to te reo, really on pronunciation. I hope my pronunciation is formidably superior to what it was 3 years ago. Well, I'm advised through hard experience at making a mistake on pai, but also I have two Māori advisors, one for Tainui, Sani Rauwharo, who is the preeminent kaumata of this area, and then an extraordinary historical and prominent commentator on the life of New Zealand, Harry Williams. So they give me advice. Yes, but that's not to say I'm saying that this election is done. I'm working flat out, and I will be working for every vote. And I want to encourage our communities, and I do so every day. Get out and vote. This is about the future of this place. Get your voting papers, rip them open, make the tick, get it back. Free post. The only thing free left in our country is democracy. And you've got to value it or you lose it, at a local level or at a national level. And I want our people to vote in the most important election in this place for the next 100 years. And make the right choice, because the first leader sets the culture, the style, the manner, how we are, who we are, reflects us more than anything. I'm not contemplating that at all.